Have you ever looked in the mirror and quietly wondered, when did I start feeling less like me? You're not alone. For millions of older adults, especially men over 65, there's a slow, invisible shift that sneaks up on us. Your energy dips. Your hands feel colder. Your connection with your partner doesn't feel quite the same. And yet, doctors often dismiss it all with a shrug and two words: just aging. But what if that explanation is not just incomplete? What if it's completely misleading? Hi, I'm Dr. In over 3 decades of practice, I've met thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who came to me not because of a dramatic health scare, but because they felt like something inside was quietly slipping away. And more often than not, it had nothing to do with age itself and everything to do with circulation. Yes, circulation. That one word may hold the key to understanding why you're feeling tired, disconnected, and out of sync. Not just physically, but emotionally and intimately. In this video, I'm going to reveal a simple, often overlooked household item that, when used properly, could help support better blood flow, reignite your energy, and restore confidence where you need it most. No, it's not a magic pill, and no, it's not a gimmick. But used right, it could be the small change that sparks a powerful shift. So before you write off your symptoms as normal, stick with me, because the next few minutes may just give you back more than you thought possible. 1. The hidden impact of poor circulation on older men. Let's be honest, aging gets blamed for a lot. Feeling slower, losing interest in intimacy, sleeping more during the day, or just lacking that old spark? Most people chalk it up to getting older. But what if what you're feeling isn't about aging at all, but about circulation? Poor blood circulation is like a thief that moves quietly through the night. It doesn't show up all at once. It creeps in gradually, first in your fingers and toes, then into your energy levels, and eventually into your most personal connections. For many men over 65, the early signs are easy to miss: colder hands and feet, more frequent naps, occasional forgetfulness, or simply not being in the mood as often. These don't feel like medical emergencies, but they're red flags just the same. What's happening under the surface is simple but significant. As we age, the blood vessels, especially the small capillaries, begin to stiffen. The arteries lose flexibility, and the flow of blood slows down. That doesn't just mean less warmth in your limbs. It means less oxygen and fewer nutrients reaching the brain, muscles, and yes, even the areas responsible for intimacy and emotional connection. Think of it like a house in winter. When circulation falters, it's like the furnace isn't sending heat to certain rooms anymore. Sure, the house still stands, but the cold, quiet spaces start to feel less alive. And here's the real cost. When circulation slows, confidence begins to erode. Men who once felt vital and connected now find themselves retreating emotionally, hesitating to express affection, avoiding closeness. Not because they don't care, but because their bodies aren't responding the way they used to. The tragedy: most men don't even realize that circulation is at the root of the problem. They think it's just age, but it's not. And the good news? Circulation can be supported, strengthened, and improved with the right approach. In the next section, we'll explore how this seemingly invisible issue can become one of the most empowering health awakenings in your later years. 2. A patient's story and the impact on masculine identity. Let me tell you about Charles. He was 72, the kind of man you'd expect to see helping a neighbor fix their fence or volunteering at a local food bank. Always sharp, always dependable. But when he sat across from me in the exam room, his shoulders were slumped and his voice was quiet. "I don't feel like a man anymore," he admitted. It wasn't his heart. His lab results were fine. His cholesterol was under control, but something far more personal was unraveling: his sense of self. You see, poor circulation doesn't just affect the body, it affects how a man feels about himself. When blood flow slows down, especially in the areas tied to physical performance and emotional intimacy, it can chip away at a man's confidence in ways no test result will ever show. For men like Charles, it's not about ego, it's about identity. We don't talk about it often in our culture, But the truth is that masculinity is tied to presence, physical, emotional, and relational. And when circulation issues make responses less predictable or intimacy feel strained, men can begin to feel invisible in their own skin. They withdraw, not out of pride, but out of quiet embarrassment. They pull back from their spouses, not because the love is gone, but because they're afraid they can't show it in the way they once did. It's an invisible loss, and it's one that wears on the soul. I've seen men become anxious, even depressed, simply because they no longer recognize themselves. The man who once moved with purpose, laughed freely, or held his wife's hand without hesitation, suddenly feels like a ghost of his former self. And the heartbreaking part? Most of them never knew why. They thought they were broken or just too old. But they're not broken, and they're not alone. Charles wasn't either. What he needed wasn't a lecture or a prescription. He needed to understand that this wasn't his fault, and more importantly, that there was something he could do to take back control. In the next section, we'll look at exactly what that is, and how one humble household item may be the first step toward feeling whole again. 3. The biological cause, endothelium and nitric oxide. If you've ever wondered why your body starts feeling different after 60, why energy drops, warmth fades, or intimacy becomes less reliable, it comes down to something incredibly small, but absolutely vital. Your blood vessels lining, known as the endothelium. The endothelium is like the command center of your circulatory system. It lines the inside of every blood vessel, acting as a regulator that tells your arteries when to relax or tighten. But perhaps its most important job is producing nitric oxide, a gas molecule that signals your blood vessels to open up and let blood flow freely. When your endothelium is healthy, blood circulates easily to every part of your body. Your heart, brain, hands, feet, and yes, the intimate areas that help maintain connection and confidence. But over time, especially with aging, poor diet, stress, and inactivity, the endothelium becomes damaged. And when that happens, nitric oxide levels plummet. Why does this matter? Without enough nitric oxide, your vessels can't expand the way they should. That means blood can't flow properly to areas with tiny, delicate vessels, like those responsible for arousal, cognitive function, and thermoregulation. You might notice it first as chronic fatigue or trouble concentrating. You may experience softer responses when it counts, or your hands and feet stay cold, even when the room is warm. And here's the kicker. This doesn't just affect performance. It impacts your brain, heart, and emotional well-being. Low nitric oxide has been linked to everything from high blood pressure to early signs of vascular dementia. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about fixing age. It's about understanding what's really happening inside. Aging may change your body, yes, but it doesn't have to erase your vitality. When we restore endothelial health and support nitric oxide production, we're not chasing youth. We're reclaiming function and dignity. And as you'll see shortly, there's a remarkably simple, science-backed way to start supporting this process, right from your own kitchen cabinet. In the next part, I'll reveal how something as humble as baking soda could play a surprising role in helping your body do what it was always designed to do: circulate, energize, and connect. 4. Baking soda, the overlooked simple solution. When most people think of baking soda, they think of cookies, cleaning drains, or keeping the fridge fresh. It's a staple in nearly every American kitchen, but few realize it might also hold a key to improving circulation, vitality, and energy, especially in older adults. That's right. Sodium bicarbonate, commonly known as baking soda, isn't just for pancakes. When used correctly and responsibly, it can gently support better blood flow and help restore a more balanced internal environment. How? It all comes down to your body's pH. As we age, the body often becomes more acidic due to poor diet, medications, stress, and declining kidney efficiency. That excess acidity can constrict blood vessels and reduce the oxygen carrying capacity of your blood. Over time, this acidic environment quietly contributes to the very symptoms we've discussed: cold extremities, low energy, and a diminishing sense of vitality. Here's where baking soda steps in. A small amount, just 1/4 teaspoon stirred into a full glass of water, can help neutralize excess acid in the body. This seemingly simple act can ease vessel tension, enhance oxygen delivery, and help your body function more efficiently at a cellular level. And the best part? You likely already have it in your pantry. I've seen men who were struggling with fatigue, low libido, and even mental fog begin to notice subtle but steady improvements after introducing this habit, with proper guidance and caution. More warmth in the hands, steadier moods, and even renewed interest in physical closeness. But make no mistake, baking soda is not a miracle drug, and it's certainly not a replacement for good nutrition, hydration, or doctor's advice. It's a tool, one that works best when it's part of a larger effort to care for your body more intentionally. And like any tool, it must be used with respect. Too much can tip your body's balance the wrong way, especially if you're on blood pressure medication or have kidney concerns. In the next section, we'll talk about how to use baking soda safely, avoid common mistakes, and get the full benefit without unintended harm. Because a good idea, used incorrectly, can do more damage than good. 5. The risks of using it the wrong way. Like many things in life, more isn't always better, and when it comes to baking soda, this couldn't be truer. We've talked about the potential benefits of baking soda for circulation and vitality, but now it's time to talk about the other side of the coin, the very real risks when this simple remedy is used incorrectly. You see, baking soda might look harmless sitting next to your sugar jar, but it's a powerful alkaline compound that directly affects your body's pH balance, sodium levels, and hydration status. Used the right way, it can help support better internal balance, but overdo it or use it without understanding your body's needs, and you could unintentionally throw your system into chaos. Take Dennis, for example. He was a 70-year-old man in good shape, still golfing twice a week. After reading about baking soda online, he decided to go all in, a teaspoon in the morning and another before bed. Within a week, he was bloated, dizzy, and eventually ended up in the ER with heart palpitations and high blood pressure. His kidneys, already under strain from age and decades of wear, simply couldn't handle the excess sodium. That's the hidden danger here. Baking soda isn't toxic on its own, but used recklessly, it can stress your heart, raise your blood pressure, and upset your fluid balance, especially if you're taking medications for hypertension, diuretics, or have any degree of kidney impairment. It's a classic example of something being natural, but not automatically safe. Remember, even water taken in excess can harm the body. So before you stir that spoonful into your glass, ask yourself, am I treating this like medicine or like a shortcut? Because your body deserves care, not guesswork. If you're serious about trying this approach, do it the right way. Start slow, stay consistent, and check with your doctor, especially if you're managing any chronic health conditions. In the next section, I'll walk you step by step through the safe, gentle method I recommend to my own patients, one that supports your body without putting your health at risk. 6. How to use it safely. If you've made it this far, you're probably thinking, okay, I'm interested, but how do I actually use baking soda without hurting myself? Great question, and asking it shows you're approaching your health the right way, with curiosity and caution. When it comes to older adults, especially those over 65, the key to using baking soda isn't intensity, it's gentle consistency. Let's start with the basic protocol I recommend to my own patients. Take 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, mix it into a full 8-ounce glass of water, and drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. That's it. Not after a meal, not before bed, not twice a day, just once. Why this way? Because your stomach is most stable when empty, and this allows the baking soda to be absorbed more gently into your system without interfering with digestion or interacting with medications. It also gives your body a neutral, clean slate to respond to the alkalizing effect. And here's a step people often forget. Hydration. Baking soda works best when your blood is well hydrated. So in addition to your morning glass, make sure you're sipping water throughout the day, not chugging it all at once but steadily. This helps circulation, supports kidney function, and assists with oxygen delivery to your tissues. Also, and I can't emphasize this enough, if you take medication for blood pressure, heart conditions, or have a history of kidney issues, always check with your doctor before starting. You're not asking for permission. You're giving your body the respect it deserves after years of service. This approach isn't about quick fixes. It's about tuning in, listening, responding with care. And remember, results aren't always dramatic at first. You might notice warmer hands, less fatigue, or clearer thinking in a few weeks. But that's a good thing. Slow and steady means your body's responding, not rebelling. Baking soda is just one small tool, but used correctly, it can become a quiet ally in your journey toward better health. In the next part, I'll share a powerful story that proves just how transformative this tiny daily habit can be, especially when paired with patience and trust in your body's natural wisdom. There's a man I'll never forget. Frank, 76 years old, quiet, thoughtful, and like many in his generation, not one to complain. He didn't come to me looking for a miracle. He just wanted to feel more like himself again, to feel warmth in his hands, clarity in his mind, and maybe even hope that he could reconnect, emotionally and physically. He started with the same method I've shared with you today. A small amount of baking soda and water, taken with care and consistency. He didn't rush it. He respected the process, and within a few weeks, he noticed the difference. Not in fireworks, but in the return of steady energy, better sleep, and even that spark of closeness he thought had faded for good. This is what I want you to take away. You are not done. Poor circulation, emotional distance, and physical fatigue don't mean your best years are over. They're signals, quiet ones, that your body needs support, not surrender. And often the first step isn't a prescription, it's a decision to show up for yourself, to listen, to believe that even a small shift, done right, can begin a very real transformation. Baking soda isn't magic, but when used safely with intention and paired with hydration and self-awareness, it can become a simple, affordable ally on your path back to vitality. So if you've been feeling disconnected, worn down, or unsure where to begin, maybe this is it. One glass, one habit, one small act of care just for you. Because you're not just growing older, you're growing wiser. And there's still more life left to feel, to share, and to love.